What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Kelvin Soa and I'm on a mission to help new developers understand how to build cross-platform mobile applications with React Native. In the last episode, we built out the login and sign-up screen, focusing on clean UI designs, reusability, and consistency across the project. In this episode, things get really exciting because we are diving into building out the home screen of the movie app. This is where everything starts to come together. The structure, the design, and the overall app experience. We'll be creating most of the core components that we'll be using throughout the project, like the movie card components, which will serve as the backbone for displaying movie data dynamically. We'll also talk about maintaining a scalable architecture, organizing our files the right way, and following good design principles that will not just make our UI look good, but also make it more professional. On top of that, you learn how easy it is to set up bottom tab navigation using Expo file-based routing, making our navigation both clean and efficient. We'll also create a beautiful movie highlight overlay on the home screen, giving our app the sleek cinematic feel. By the end of this video, you'll have a complete home screen layout that's both visually stunning and ready for dynamic data integration in the upcoming episodes. Now, if this sounds interesting, don't forget to hit the like button. And if you are new to this channel, don't forget to smash the subscribe button as well. You can also feel free to leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section. This really helps the channel grow a lot. Now let's jump right into it. Alright, so in today's video, we are going to be creating the home screen. So as you can see, this is the screen that we are going to be creating. So you can see it has a lot of nice features over here. We have this header tab over here, and this nice preview of the movie over here, and this play button. We also have these sections over here. We have trending now, see more, and the movie cards as well. I'm going to be creating all these ones. So this is actually an image, so it's not the actual simulator. And we have these bottom tabs down here as well. We are going to be using React navigation, and we are going to be using the Expo router for this. So we are going to see how we can actually hook it up and make it work as we want it to. Passing the navigations around and having these tabs here with the passing the icons and having options on the various tabs. So that's what we are going to be doing on this particular episode. We'll be building out this screen. So what we are going to do first of all is to set up the bottom tab navigations, right? That's the first thing I would want to do. So to do that, it's pretty simple with React Expo router. Inside the app folder, once again, we're going to create a new folder, and this time we're going to call it tabs. It's going to be a group, a route group. We're going to create a new folder. I'm going to call it tabs, right? So this is going to hold our tabs. Now, anytime you create a group, you can add in a layout to it. So in our case, since we want to create a new layout for the bottom tabs, we can add in a layout file. So to add a layout file, I'm simply going to create a new file in here. I'm going to create a new file. I'm going to call it underscore layouts.tsx, like this. That way we can add in some layouts. So over here, let's use our usual snippets. We are going to say RNFES like this. Okay. So what we are going to do now is basically set up our layout. But first, let's create the screens for the tabs. So you can see here that we have these various screens. We have the home, we have the movies, we have the TV or series, and then we have the me, right, which is your profile. So let's create those files. So the first file is going to be the home screen, right, which is the first page that you're supposed to see when you enter this layout. So to do that, I'm going to create another route group here, and it's going to be home. And then inside home, we are going to create a new file, just index.tsx like this. And then let's add in our favorite snippets. Let's call this home screen like this. And let's create the next screen. So over the next screens, it doesn't have to be in a folder. The reason why I'm putting this inside a folder is that I want for this group, I want this home screen to be the first page it always gets into whenever this route gets hit. It should first enter the home screen before any other tab, you understand? So that's why we have the home inside a group folder like this. Now the next screen we want to add is the movies and then the TV series. So let's create a new file. Inside the tab, we are going to create a new file. We're going to call it movies.tsx. Let's use RNFES movies screen like this. And then let's create a new file. Call it series.tsx. Let's add in our snippets. I'm going to call it series screen like this. The next one is profile. So I'm going to add in a new file. I'm going to call it profile.tsx like this. Our snippet, say profile screen like that. All right, so now we've added in the various screens for the layout. Now let's set them up inside the layout. Okay, so inside the layout here, since this is going to be the bottom tab layout, we can simply call this tab layout, right? I'm going to call it tab layout. So currently, the only layout we have for this app is the root layout, which is the default one that gets created for you, which has to be there. So this is the default layout, or the root layout, if you could put it. So this is the root layout. It holds the root or the whole application, if you could say. That's the root layout. And we are just creating a new layout for the tab. So we are naming it tab layout, like so. All right. So instead of returning these JSX elements, the view stuff and things, we're going to be using tabs from Expo. Okay, so let's say tabs like this. And then we are going to import it from Expo like so. So as you can see, the tabs are imported, have been imported from Expo. And over here, you can now add in some screen options for the various tabs. So let's see screen options, just like we did for the other routes. Let's add in some screen options. So you can notice that the tab bar has some specific colors, the icons. The icons has a gray color if it is not active, and it has this bluish color if it is the primary color if it is active. So that's what we're going to do right now. So we're going to add those options. So I'm going to say that I'm going to say tab bar inactive tint color, which is this one. It's going to be from our colors. Let's make sure I'm importing it from the right place. Colors.gray, like so. And then we add in the tab bar active tint color, like so. And it's going to be colors.primary, like so. Okay. And then the next thing we want to do is have this option for the tab bar. But before we do that, let's set up the routes. Okay, so we're going to see tab.screen, not tab layout. So tabs.screen like this. And so it's a self-closing tag. So we pass this in here like this. And now we can pass in the props. So the first prop we want to add is the name of the route. So the first one we want to add is the home, right? We want to add the home screen, which is the home/index. And the next one that we want to add, let me duplicate this. The next one that we want to add is what? Movies. Movies, like so. And then the next one that we want to add is series. And finally, we add in profile, like so, right? So basically, these are the screens that we are adding. So at this point, we can come back into the root layout and add this tabs route. So inside the root layout, we basically add the tab route to the route we have over here. So let's duplicate this, and then we're going to see tabs, like so. Okay. All right, so now that we have that set up, inside our login screen, where we have this login screen, the button for the login, right, we are going to adding a function. Okay, so where is this the button? So on press of this button, for now, we haven't set up the authentication yet, but for now, we just want it to route to the tab screen, right? So we are simply going to say router dot push, and then we push the tabs route that we just created, like so. Okay, so it simply routes to the home page of the tabs. Okay, all right. So let's see if it works. So good. So now, as you can see, this is the home screen that we have here. This is the header, and then we have this bottom tabs down here, like so. Now let's configure it and make it look how we want it to, the tabs. So down here, let's go back to the tabs layout here, and let's add in some settings or some properties. Okay, so first let's style it. Let's style the tab. So I'm going to say tab bar style here, and then we're going to pass in some props. Let's add a background color, and the background color is going to be from our colors dot background, like so. And let's add a border color, and the border color is going to be also colors dot background, like so. Let me reload this so that we can see the changes real time. All right, so now this is what we have here. We have the background, we have the border for it, and you can see the tint colors that we set, because this is now the active route. You are seeing it here to be the home, and we can see the movies, you can see the series, and then also the profile screen. So the active tint color is getting the primary color that we just set over here. All right, now the next thing that we want to do is add in some options to the specific screens, right? We want to add in some options to the specific screens. So for the home screen, let's add in this option. So I'm going to say options, like so, and let's change the icons over here. We want to use a specific icon. So we are going to say tab bar icon. So tab bar icon is going to be, have the color here, and then we place this over here, like so. All right, I think, yeah, this is it. So we have the feathers. We are going to use the feathers, the feather icon. Okay, it's not giving us the import. We're going to import it manually. So the name is going to be the home. It's going to be the home icon. The size is going to be 20. And then the color is simply going to use the same color as we are getting. Okay, so it determines whether it is active or inactive. So let me make sure that we are importing the feather icon. Let me import it up here. Let's say import feather from Expo vector icons, like so. All right, so issue resolved. So the next options we want to add now is the label, right? So we're going to say tab bar label. We want to set it to home, like so. And then we want to remove the header that was appearing at the top. We don't want it there. This header, we don't want it there. So we are going to go ahead and see header shown to be false, like so. So now the header is gone. Now for the remaining screens, it's going to follow this similar options. So I'm going to go ahead and copy these options over. So let me copy this, and I'm going to paste it down here, like so. Paste this down here. I'll just be changing the icons for each one. So for the second screen, which is the movies, the name is going to be play circle, like this. play circle from feather. Okay, the spelling is wrong. Play circle, and then the label is going to be movies, like so. You can see it changing over here. All right, and then the next screen, which is the series. So for the series, the same is also going to be from feather. The name is folder, and then the label is going to be TV/series, like that. Also, we don't want to show the header. As you can see, it's been changed here. And then finally, the profile. The name, we're going to, instead of feathers, we're going to use oct icons, like so. Let me make sure it's been imported. And then the name here is going to be person, like so. And then the label is me. All right, let's reload this. Okay, so now we have our bottom tabs here ready, and we can go ahead and use it and start creating the screens out for the various tabs. So the first tab that we want to work on is the home screen. Okay, so now let's start creating the home screen. So let's head over ahead and open the home tab here, enter the home screen, and let's start building it out. Okay, so the first thing that we want to do here, you notice this is the home screen. The first thing that we want to do is to create this overview section over here. That's the first thing that we want to build out, including this header here. So let's start with that. But before that, let's style the main screen. Let's say style and say styles.container. And let's go ahead and style it here. Now for this style, it's simply going to take the usual flex one. And then the background color is going to be colors.background, like so. Okay, so that's that. So this is the home screen. You can see clearly the colors just changed immediately. All right, then now since the content needs to be scrollable, we are going to put it in a scroll view, like so. Make sure you're importing it from React Native. And then now let's create a component for this overview section. We're just going to call it overview section, like so. So right now it's not defined. Let's go ahead and define it inside the components folder. So we're going to create a new file, paste the overview section in here, .csx, and let's say rnfes to import it. Okay, so this is the overview section. Let's go ahead and start building it out. We add a style for the main wrapper here. We are going to call it, say, styles.overview, like so. Come down here and apply the styles to it. So for this, the height is simply going to be 400. And then let's go ahead and then reload this thing. So it's still complaining. Let's see why it's complaining. Let's go back to the home screen and import this right away. All right. So the height here is going to be 400. And let's set the position to be relative. Now we're going to see why I'm setting a relative position very soon. All right. So now the next thing we want to do is adding an image for the overview, right? Because you know that we have this image here. So we want to add that image. So for that image, just import the image from React Native. And then we set the source where we are getting the image from. Now, this is where you're going to be needing the assets I added down in the description. If you haven't downloaded it, it's in the description. You can go ahead and go and download the assets you need for this build. So over here, you just add in the image, say from assets. So let's see. We are requiring it from assets. Why are we not getting it? Let me see. Assets, images, and then from the overview. That's the name of the image, overview.png, like so. I'm not sure why it is. Let's see. Is it that it cannot? Okay, yeah, I forgot the slash to show the paths. Okay, so now it needs to have found the image. All right, so this is the image. Let's style it now. Let's apply a style here. Let's say styles.overview image, like so. Now let's go ahead and style this. Paste this in here like so. And then apply this style. So the height is simply going to be 100%. And then we add in a width of 100%, like so. And then let's say object fit should be cover, so that it covers the space, like so. All right, so that is that. So that's what you are seeing here, the image over here. All right, now you notice the image has this dark overlay on it, so it has darkened the image a little bit, and that's what we are going to be doing. Is I'm simply going to add in a view that is going to serve as the cover for the overlay. Okay, so the next thing, let's comment the overview cover. All right, overview cover here, and let's add in a view, and inside this view now apply a style and say styles dot cover. Now for the cover, we come down here, and for this cover we are going to set the position to be absolute. Now we are setting it absolute because its parent component, which is the overview, is relative, which means we are setting this cover to be absolute relative to the overview wrapper. Okay, so this view here is absolute relative to this particular view. You understand? So that's why we set the position relative style over here. Okay, so now let's set the positions. Let's say top should be 0, bottom should be 0, left should also be 0, and then right should be 0. And then for the background color, I'm going to use an RGB color. We're going to say RGB alpha, and then we set the values. Say 0, 0, 0, and then the alpha is going to be 0.8, like so. So you can see that it gives us this dark overlay over here. So that's what we're going to be using in this case. All right. Now, the next thing we want to do after adding the overview is to add this content and then add in the header. Okay. So we want to make sure that this header is inside a safe area and it doesn't exceed or go outside of the safe area. So obviously, we are going to put it inside a safe area view, like so. Let's make sure you're importing it from React Native. And let's basically say the style here to be flex1, like so. Okay, so let's add in a view here for the header, and let's see style dot star is going to be styles dot header, like so. And let's go ahead and apply the header style. So for the header style, we are going to simply, let me paste the styles here so that we can move a little bit faster. So this is the header style. We have the flex direction rule so that they are horizontally beside each other, align item center. justify content space between, you want them to space out. So you can see the header contents here, they are horizontally next to each other and we are spacing them out. So that's why we have the justify content space between, and we're giving it a padding of 14 pixels. So that's for this view here. And the next thing we want to do is to add the image and then its content. So let's add in another view here, and let's style it. Let's see, for this I'm going to say flex direction should be row, and align items should be center, like so. And then let's add in an image over here, and for this image let's get a source. The source is going to be from at, then we get the assets. From the assets, images / profile.jpg, like so. So this is the source. Have we imported the image though? Okay, I think we have. So why is it erroring out still? Okay, yeah, so we need to actually require it. So we're going to say require, and then we paste this in here. Now you can see the image is here. Now let's style it. Say styles dot profile, like so. And then let's come down here, and I'm going to paste in the profile styling over here, like so. So yeah, that's it. We're simply saying the height should be 45, the width 45, and a border radius of 50, which is causing it to be rounded, as you can see. So yeah, so remember this view, we made it flex direction row align item center because we want to create this other component next to it. So let's go ahead and add that. So for that, we are going to create another view, and we are going to style it. The only thing we are going to add here is a margin on the left side of it to sort of space it out between the images. Let's add another text here, and the text here is simply going to say hi Kelvin. You can put your name over there, and let's add in the wave icon here, like so, or emoji. So you can on Mac you can use Control plus Command and space to open the emoji palette to select anyone. I'm not sure what command it is for Windows. You can Google it to find that out. I mean, okay, so that is that. Let's add another text here and say welcome back, like so. Welcome back. And let's style this. So for this style, we're going to set the color of the text to be colors.text, like so, and we set a font size of 16. Come back here. The style is going to be, let's create this aside. We're going to say styles.greeting. Now let's set the greeting style. Okay, so for the greeting style, I'm also going to paste it down here, like so. All right, so that's that. For some reason, the colors are not being applied. Why is that? Colors.text. Why are we importing the color? So this mistake again. Let me correct it out and import colors from the right place. I should have named it differently instead of colors. All right, so now we have it here. You have hi Kelvin and then welcome back. All right, so the next thing is to simply add this search icon over here. So let's go ahead and do that. So for that, since this is a flex direction, where is it? All right, yeah, this is the header. So it means let's close this one out. And down here, this is going to hold out the search icon. Okay, so it's going to be inside a touchable opacity like so. Let's import it. And then let's add some properties here. Let's say the active opacity should be 0.8. And let's add in a style. So for the style, we are going to say styles.search wrapper like so. Okay, because that's going to be the wrapper. And now let's style the search wrapper. So for the search wrapper also, I'm going to paste in the style here and explain. So we have the height to be 50 and the width to be 50. We are giving it this background color here, as you can see, and a border radius of 50 to make it round, and align item center, justify content center, so that whatever we put inside remains in the center. Okay, so let's come back here and add in the icon or the search icon. So this search icon is also going to be imported from Feather, like so. And you can see here, the name is search size of 24, and the colors is obviously colors.text from our colors. All right, so that's that for the header. The next thing that we want to add on this overview is, you see we have this series sort of check mark over here. So that's what we are going to add next. Okay, so, and you can notice that from this point on up to this point, the blur, the darkness has sort of blended into this screen. Okay, you can notice that it has blended into this screen. So you can't really see where the image ends and the background, the black background, because it has sort of blended right into it. So we're going to use a linear gradient for it. We're going to use a linear gradient to achieve this. So for that, we need to install Expo linear gradient. So let me go ahead. Oh, I think it's already been available in the Expo. Let's find out. Let's find out. So down here, come down here. Let's say linear gradient, like so. And is it imported? Okay, let me import it manually. Expo linear gradient. Let's say import linear gradient from Expo linear gradient. I think we are going to have to install it. All right, so let's go ahead and install it. So I thought it already came with the package. All right, so let's simply say npx expo install, or just expo install. It doesn't really matter. It will still go ahead and install it for you. So good, it has installed the Expo linear gradient for us. Now we have it. Now we can use it. Why is it complaining over here? Let me make sure I've copied the right thing. All right, good. So now we can now apply the styles that we want, or the configurations that we want. So for this linear gradient, we are going to set the colors. Okay, the colors to, you can set different colors. So in this case, I want it to sort of be in a transparent and enter and fade into our colors background, right? So I'm going to say transparent. It should be transparent first, and then move to our colors.background like so. Okay, now let's add in a style to it. Let's say style, go to styles.blur, and let's come down here like so. Okay, and for this blur, I'm going to paste in this style so that I explain. All right, so the height here is 150. Let me reload this. The height is 150. The width is 100%. the padding is 14, then we justify content space around to sort of create space around the items within it. So already you can see that the linear gradient is sort of fading through to the bottom. So you can't really see where the image ends specifically. So that's what we want to achieve here, this blur effect. Okay, so let's move on to the next thing. So inside this, we want to create the series check mark over here. That's what we want to do next. So we're going to create this badge there like so. So I'm going to add in a view here. And this view, let's style it. Let's give it a style and call it styles.category badge like so. Okay, and then let me paste in the style here. The category badge. I'm going to paste in the style like so. So it's simply having a padding of 8 pixels, a background color of this surface color from our colors, and a border radius of 14. We're aligning items to be center, and we're giving it a width of 100 pixels. So it might not be very clear here, but it is back here. If you look carefully, you can see it down here like this. All right. So now let's go ahead and then add in this text called series. So I'm simply going to see text series like so, and let's style this text. So I'm going to say style, and we give it a color of, you already know, colors.text, and we give it a font width of 500 and a font size of 16 like so. All right. Okay, so now you can see the series over there. Now let's add the title and then this play icon over here. Okay, that's the next thing we want to do. So for that, we are going to use a view to wrap them around them. And let's add in a style. Let's style it. Or you know what, let's create the content before we style it so you can see it in action as we apply the styles. So let's see the text here. And let's give it the Sandman, like so. Okay, now let's style the text. Let's style the text. And I'm going to say font size to be 26. Font weight should be 600 to make it a little bit bolder. And then the color is going to be, you already know, colors.text, like so. So you can see the name down here. And also, let's add in the icon, the play icon. So we're going to put it in a chattable opacity. What is going on? All right, touchable opacity. And within it, we are going to use this icon. Let me go ahead and then paste it in there from Font Awesome, like so. All right, so from Font Awesome 5, make sure you're importing it from Expo Vector Icons. We are using the name, which is play, and the size is 24. The color is, you already know, colors.text. Now let's add in the active opacity of 0.8. And let's give it a style. So for the style here, I'm going to say styles.play btn for the play button. Okay. Come down here and let's style it. I'm going to go ahead and paste in the style for this play button, like so. So we are simply saying that the height should be 60, the width should be 60. We're giving it a border radius of 50% to make sure that it's always round, and align items to be center, justify content center to make sure that the icon is also in the center, and a background color of surface. All right, so now we want it to align next to this text. So let's go ahead and then style the wrapper to it. So we have, this is the text, this is the button. Now we need to style the view here. So you already know for that, we are going to use the flex items. So I'm going to say flex direction. It should be row like so. So it's going to be next to it. Then I'm going to say align items should be center. So they are horizontally next to each other. And then we say justify contents should be space between. So we create space between them. All right, so for this title too, you notice that this is the name, right? But what if the name is a little bit longer? Let's add in some random text here. Let's see how it's going to look like. You see, so now it's going to be a problem. So for that, I'm going to add in a prop over here called number of lines, right? To make sure that it only takes one line, and then in any case, it just uses the 3 dots. So let's add another prop here and see flex 1, like so. Okay, so let's clear these items over here. And let's remove this also. We don't need it for now. All right. All right, you get the idea. Okay. So that is that. Let me see something as well. Let's come here. Let's make this also flex 1. Nope. All right, let me clear this. Okay, so that's some CSS issue you can debug, how the text just pushes this thing away. But let's move on. So the next thing we want to do now is to add this text down here, 2025 Monster Horror Sci-Fi Epic text down here. So pretty basic stuff. You're simply going to add a text down here like so. And we're going to say 2025, add in the pipe, and you see Monster Horror, and see sci-fi epic, like so. All right, so the text is there, but right now it's not visible because we need to style it. So we're going to say styles, or let's just do it inline. So all we need to do is add in a color, and the color you already know, or maybe you don't. Colors.gray. Yeah, that's the colors that I'm going to use. Let's reload this. Come back here. So yeah, that's it. We have it here now. We have our header and this background and display icon. All right, so far so good. We are done with the header. Now let's create the next order of business. So inside the home, now we are done with the overview. Now let's go ahead and add these sections where we have this title and then the see more, and then we create these cards. Then we move on to the next things. Okay, so now let's create in a view to sort of wrap everything around them. And I'm going to say style, give it flex of 1, like so. And we say view style here. Let's give it a margin vertical of 20 to create space vertically. Now, you can see we have this section header thingy over here, the title, and then you see more title, you see more, and it's on all the sections. So it's something that we can create as a component and reuse across. So we're going to create a component here, and I'm going to call it section header, like so. And we can simply create it in this same file. Okay, we don't have to. So I'm going to say const section header, and it's going to return us this JSX element, importing the views. So for this view, let's add in a style to the wrapper. Say styles dot section header, like so. And let's go ahead and apply the styles. So I'm going to paste in the styles for this down here, like so. Okay. Make sure it's inside. this bracket, reload this, come back here, and we now need to add in the title. So for the title, it's going to be inside the text. The text, let's say trending, like so. And now let's style it. So for the style, we're going to use the inline styling. The color is going to be from our colors dot text. We're going to give it a font width of 600 and a font size of 16, like so. So that's what we are seeing down here. And we are going to add in another text down here, but we want to wrap it inside a touchable opacity. Let's import it, add in the text with a capital T, and it's going to say see more. And let's go ahead and style it. Say color to be colors, our colors dot primary. Okay, so that's going to be the color for it. And let's make the active opacity here to be 0.8. Let's give it a style here. And the style is going to be padding of 10, like so. Let's reload this terminal. So that's what we have here. All right, so for this title tool, we've started and everything. So to make this component reusable, simply add in some props here. To add in some props here, I'm going to say title, and it's going to be of type string, like so. And instead of having this hard-coded here, can just pass the title in here. So now we can use the section header here, pass the title, say trending, and then let's add the fire emoji here, like so. All right, well, trending now. All right, so that is that. The next thing, we have to now add this movie card component. So let's go ahead and then create it, the movie card component. So first of all, let's place the component here, call it movie card, like so. Okay. So for this, we're going to come over here into components, create a new file, say moviecard.tsx, rnfes, and then we can go ahead and start creating the movie card. Okay. So for this movie card, we are going to use, it's going to be pressable. So we're going to use touchable opacity. Let's import it. The active opacity is going to be 0.8. And let's give it a style. So we're going to say style will be equal to styles.container. Let's go ahead and then apply the container styles. So for this, we are going to use this styling, right? Okay, so you are wondering where this HS is coming from. Let me first import it. So you notice earlier I made you guys download in the first few videos. I make you guys download these files as from the assets. Once again, I'm going to drop the link in the description. It contains this screen dimensions thingy. So when you go into the screen dimensions, this is what we have. We are simply getting the dimensions of your screen from React Native, and it gives us the actual value for the window, the width, and then the height. We want to get the width and then the height, and we're setting these constant values 375 to sort of create this horizontal styling. The reason why we have all this is to sort of scale out our components based on the screen dimension size. So we want our components to look good on any screen size, whether small devices or larger devices, iPads, tablets, if it is a small iPhone like iPhone 6 or something like that. So we want it to basically calculate the size of the screen and then provide the actual size. We don't want to use a fixed size. That's why we have these dimensions. So this is for horizontal scaling. In cases where you want to set, let's say, a width of something, you can wrap the value around the HS, and it's going to basically calculate the width, the relative width of that component based on the width of the screen. Or vertical scale is going to scale it based on the height of the screen. Or this moderate scaling where you're adding a factor of 0.5 for sizings like the text size and so on, or padding and so on. So this is basically for the screen sizes. So that's why we have this here. All right. So here we are setting the width of this container to be 110 HS, just so it looks good on various screen sizes. Okay. So let's continue with this. Now let's add in an image. So for this image, let's see image. Let's import the image. And let's add in the source. We're going to require from assets. Let me just paste in one of the images that we have. So we're going to use movie assets here, images, and then movie1.png, like so. Okay, let me reload this so that we can see the changes in real time. Why is it complaining? Property movie card doesn't exist. Okay, let's make sure it's imported inside the home screen. Let's import it, jump into it. So you can see the image over here. Okay, so that is that. Now let's add in a style to style the image. So for the style, you're simply going to say styles.image so that we can add in the styles from the style sheet. Okay, so for that, let me just paste in the style over here. The height is going to be a vertical scale of 150 and a width of 100% and a border radius of 10. That's going to be for the movie image card, right? And then the next thing we want to do after adding the image is, of course, to add in the bottom items, right? So let's create the view over here. You can see this is what we're adding, the title and then the subtitle. So over here, we're going to add in a text. And we're going to see the title is going to be The Sandman, like so. And once again, let's use the number of lines and set it to 1 to make sure that it doesn't exceed. If it does, it should just add the 3 dots. And for the style, we're going to apply some inline styles here. And the color of this text is going to be, you already know, colors.text. We add a font weight of 600. 600, like so. And a font size of a moderate scale 14, like this. Let's import it. All right, so that's the title. Now let's add the subtitle. So for the subtitle also, let's add in the number of lines, the maximum number of lines. Let's add a style to it. It's going to be inline. Give it a color. The color is going to be colors.gray, like this. And let's give it a font size. A font size of MS 10, like so. And then for the genre, what should we use for the genre? Action drama. We're going to say action pipe drama, like so. All right, why are we not seeing the changes? Okay, we are not importing colors from the right place once again. Make sure you're importing colors from constants and then colors. So now you can see the changes in real time. Okay. All right. So now we want this to be very reusable. We don't want to always have these names here and image whenever we use this component. So we're going to create the props for it. I'm going to say interface. Let's bring this movie card props. And we're going to add image. Let's make it optional. And the type is going to be image source prop type from React Native, or undefined because it's optional. Okay. And then let's add the title. It's going to be of type string. Let's add a genre, also of type string, like so. Okay. And in here, you can simply make use of these properties: genre, title, and the image. So instead of using this static image here, we are going to clear it out, and then we put in image like so. And then the title, we clear this, put in title, and over here we clear it and put in genre. Yeah, genre like this. So yeah, so basically this is the movie card components that we're going to be using across. Okay, so when we come back here, let me reload this. And now over here, what we'd want to do now is that we want, since this movie card is going to have multiple items and it's supposed to be scrollable horizontally, right? And we'll be fetching it from an API. So the smart thing to do now is to use a flat list which displays the items horizontally. Okay, so that's what we're going to be doing now. So we're simply going to use the flat list. If you want to learn more about how to use flat lists, I have a video on my channel. I'm going to, the link should be displayed at the top there somewhere. And then you should see it's flat list. Why is it not important? Okay, we're importing it from flat list should be imported from. Is it imported? All right, good, it's imported. So if you want to learn more about how to use flat lists, you can go and watch that video. I'll put it down in the description as well. So for the data here, we are going to use this movie from this mock data, right? So we have this mock data file here that we added, which has these movies. You have the image, the title, and then the genre. If you don't want to type this manually, like I said earlier, in the assets folder that I created, I'll drop the link down in the description so that you can have access to all these files. If you don't want to copy it, you can just copy from that file and then paste it in your code. That way you can have access and use it. All right. So I'm simply going to say movies and I'm going to import it. As you can see, I'm going to import it from the mock data, like so. Come back here. So that's the data. It's going to be fetching the data, and then I'm going to render item. So the item which is going to be rendered here, and then we pass in the item like so. And it returns this JSX components. Let me move this to the top here like so. All right. So now we have the item here. And let's pass in the prop. So for this prop, we are going to say item.genre. And then for the title, we're going to say item.title. And then for the image, we're going to say item.image, like so. All right, let's reload this. Come back here. So now you can see we are seeing the images being applied. So we don't want it to be vertical, we want it to be horizontal. So very much simple. We are just going to add in another prop here. And then we are just going to see it should be horizontal like so. All right, so that's that. You can see now we have the components here, the movie components here, and it's in this horizontal flat list. Okay, so I'd advise, if you want to learn more about flat list and the benefits of using flat list, you watch the video that I'm talking about, and it's going to be very helpful to you. Okay, so let's see what's next. So the next thing is to add this next section here. It's not very visible, but you get the idea. So we are going to add that section. So for that section, let's create in a new view. And for this view, let's add in a style. And we're going to see the style. Let's give it margin vertical of 20, just like before. And let's use the section header component that we created. Let's add the title. What is going on? So the title here is going to be continue watching, like so. So that's going to be the title. We have the continue watching and then the see more. So for this also, we are not going to be using the movie card that we just created. We're going to be using a different card, but it is also similar to the movie card. Okay, so let me say continue watching movie card. Okay, and then let's create the file inside the component. Since it's similar to the movie card, I'm simply going to copy everything we have here, and then paste it here. But I'm just going to change the name to continue watching. Let me make sure that I copy the right name so that I don't make any mistake. So I'm going to say Command F, and then I'm going to be replacing all the instances of movie card with continue watching movie card. So we have only 4 instances. So simply going to replace them. So you can now see you have continue watching movie card props across. Okay, so let me reload this. Come down here. Okay, it's complaining because we haven't imported it inside the home. So let me go ahead and then import it. And let's jump back into it. So let me just add in some damaging. Let's say action, drama. The next thing is Sandman. And then for the image, let's require, just so we see the changes, we're going to say require at assets, images. We're going to say movie 1.png, like so. Okay, so now this is what we have here for the movie, the continue watching movie, simply using the same thing as the movie card, but I'm going to add in some changes in here to sort of separate it. Okay. All right. What do we have here? All right, so let me just build everything from scratch so that you see how it is done. All right. Let me just build everything from scratch here so that we see step by step how it's being done. Okay, so first of all, let's create a view, because there's a slight difference from the continue watching with the movie card. We are going to see this progress bar underneath it. Okay, so let's add a style here. I'm going to say styles dot container, like so. So for this container, the width is going to be 240, okay? 240 as opposed to what we had for the movie card. And we're going to give it a margin horizontal of 8. And we wouldn't be adding a margin bottom, so let's clear this. All right, now the next thing, let's add in another view. And this time, the style for this view is simply going to be position relative. We're going to see why that is so. And let's add in a touchable opacity. Okay, it's imported. And let's put in a style here. Say styles.press play. Okay, because there's a play button that we want to style in there. So right now we're not seeing the changes. We'll be seeing the changes very soon. Just in a moment. Let me go ahead and then style the press play. So for the press play, I'm going to paste in the style and then explain it. So for this, you can see the position is absolute. And because it's inside the wrapper of this one, whose position is relative, you can see that we can now use the position absolute so that it is absolute in relation or relative to the view wrapper that we have here. Okay, so position absolute, top 0, bottom 0, left 0, right 0. The Z index is 999 because we always want it to stay at the top of all the items underneath it. And then align item center, justify content center. So everything is inside it. All right. So the next thing we want to add is this play icon, the same one we used on the overview screen. Let's import. So the name is play size 24, and this is the color. So the next thing is to add the image. Okay, the image. So the image for the card, we're going to say image. And then let's add in a source. So for the source is going to be image, like so. All right, so we have the image in there. And let's add in a style. So for the style, I'm going to say style dot image. All right. So you can see right there, and then we can see the changes. So the image style, once again, I'm giving it a height. So the height, instead of 150, let's do 170 here. And we're giving it a width of 100 and a border radius of, let's use 6 instead of 10. All right, so that is that for the movie. Now let's move on to the next thing that we'd want to add, which is the progress view, right? So that's the progress view. So let's add in a view here and let's apply a style to it. So for this view, I'm going to say styles dot progress bar container. Okay. And then we are going to apply the styles for it. So I'm going to paste it in there. So this is it. We are giving it a margin top of 8 pixels. As you can see, that is it, the progress bar container. It is here. A margin top of 8 pixels, a height of 3, a width of 100%, a background color of colors.text, and a border radius of 4. Overflow here should be hidden so that it doesn't overflow the main wrapper. All right, so that's the view here. Now we want the actual progress view, right? This is the progress container. Now we want the actual progress view. So to do that, you are simply going to use a self-closing view tag like this, and then we are going to simply style it. Okay. So for the style, I'm going to say styles.progress, like so. Now let me apply the progress. So for the progress, I'm going to paste in the style for that. So this is it. For the progress, we are saying that the width should be 100%. The height, sorry, should be 100%. And then the background color should be our primary color from the colors. And the border radius should be 4. So right now, you can see that the progress has taken everywhere, the whole wrappers container as the width. Okay. So now let's actually set the width here. And for the width, we want to use a random width. Okay, so because we are not actually watching the movie, that we get to see where we left off from before. So in this component, we are going to create a function that is going to set a random percentage for us. Okay, so I'm going to paste it in here and then I explain. Okay, so this is it. Get random percentage. Let me import this from React dimension value from React Native. So this simply is a type from TypeScript. So here we just want to know the like set a random value for the width. Okay, so the minimum value for it is always 10 pixels based on the width, or 10%. So for minimum, for every continue watching card here, it should always have at least 10% watch counts here, because it means we have started watching the movie. Okay, so for minimum, it should always have 10%, and then for maximum obviously is going to be 100%, which means it covers the whole progress. And now the actual value, we are going to use math.floor, math.random to calculate the random and making sure that it's within the ranges that we set, and then we return the percentage value. Okay, so now we can see const random. Let me spell it well. Random percentage is equal to get random percentage, and then let's call the function. So let's make sure you have copied this function and everything here so that you can make use of this function. So random percentage here would always have a random percentage between the ranges of 10% and 100%. Okay, so why are we even creating this function? So over here, instead of just having it fill out the full screen, I can place it in here, and then inside this star, I'm going to say width. The width should be the random percentage over here. So you can see it just created this as the progress. So it's going to randomize the percentage between 10% and then 100%. And out of nowhere, we just got this percentage. All right, so that is that. The next thing we want to do is to add a title and then the genre. So the title and then the genre, I'm going to come down here, wrap them around the view, and we are going to give it a star of margin top of 8, like so. Okay, and let's add a text. So for the text, we are going to see passing the title. Okay, passing the title like so. Make sure that it is there, and let's style it. So the style, we are simply going to say color, and the color is going to be colors, you already know, dot text, and font weight of 600, font size of 16, like so. All right, let's reload this. Font size of 16. So that's the title, and let's add a genre. So for the genre, we add in the genre value over here, and we pass in the styles for that as well. So for the title, we need to pass in our prop here, saying to add a number of maximum lines of 1. Do a similar thing over here, and let's apply the style. So over here, we're going to see that the color is going to be colors dot gray, and we pass in a font size of 12, like this. Okay, so basically this is it. This is the continue watching component. And from here now, we can also add it to a flat list. So we come back to the home. Instead of just having it here, we're going to place it inside a flat list. Say flat list. And over here too, the data is going to be movies, just like we did for the first one. And we need to render item. For render item, we are going to see the item here. And then we place our component over here, like so. So you can see it is creating this component in duplicates based on the movies component. We need it to be horizontal, so we are going to do the same thing here and say horizontal, so that it aligns horizontally. So you can see that for each one, we are getting a randomized progress view, which shows that this is where we have watched up to. So we are being told to continue watching. So you can see it creates a random progress calculation for the views, so the random view counts, as you can see here. All right. So now instead of having these static values here, I'm going to say item dot, what is this? Item dot, if I can type, genre. I'm going to say item dot title, and then you come here, you already know, item dot image. So it should update the images for us. All right, nice. We have this movies list over here, and then we have this continue movie watching over here. Now, one thing that I don't like is the movie cards are the same and they're arranged the same way. So one thing we can do to remedy this is to sort of reverse this list to sort of create a difference. So we are going to spread this out, and then we're just going to pass in this dot reverse function from JavaScript, so that it reverses it for us. So it sort of shows differently the order. Okay. All right. So I mean that's the continue watching. The next one that we want to add is similar to the first one. So I'm going to go ahead and then copy this whole thing, this whole section, right? The whole section for the trending now part. That is what I am going to be adding. So let me come down here and paste it down here. All right, so I think that, right, we can simply have this flat list inside this view. All right, let me place this up here, and we can remove this view over here like this. So we have this, and even at the top here, we can also do the same thing. So instead of having this view inside the Flex 1 wrapper, we don't really need it. So let me move this flat list also over here to be wrapped around this view alone. Clear this, and then basically come and clear this as well. So it just wraps around this vertical of 20 pixels, margin vertical wrapper. We have the section header, and then the flat list, basic stuff. And the second part also the same thing, instead of having this. So we just need a margin vertical of 20, like this. All right. So instead of having trending now, we are going to say new releases. New releases with the rocket icon. Rocket icon like this. All right. And we add another section. So let me copy this once again. paste it down here. And that section is going to be international pics. Say international pics. And we are going to pass in the globe icon like this. And let's reverse this list as well. Let's pass in dot reverse like so. So it's basically using the spread operator to spread the contents of movies inside this new array, and then we reverse it. Okay, so that we have this sort of dynamic list. So you can see that how we have really optimized our code base, and you can see how we are making use of these reusable components so that we don't have to be repeating ourselves. And even having this nice screen, we have done that with this little code, and it's very readable. So if someone else comes and touch your code base, the person can easily read and understand what is going on and what you are doing. All right, so we are done with the home screen. Hopefully this video has been very helpful to you and you have learned some new things with React Native. And you are enjoying building out this project, because I'm also excited about building this project. I hope you also are as excited as I am. If so, do want to hit the like button and subscribe to this channel if you haven't. If you haven't, please, and you have watched up to this point, I think it's about time you hit the subscribe button. I'm urging you in particular that are watching and you haven't subscribed. Why haven't you subscribed? Please hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. And leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section. I'm going to appreciate that a lot. It pushes the channel as well, and it makes the content, this educative content, available to a wider audience in general. So don't forget to do all these things. Thank you very much, and catch you in the next video. So for the next videos, we'll be creating the other screens, the movie, the series, the profile, and then we'll be hooking it up with an API from TMDB to fetch the actual movies and the content from an API. Currently, as you can see, we are using dummy data from our mock data movies file over here, where we are passing this data here. So as we move on in subsequent video, we'll be seeing how we can use the TMDB API to fetch data from there and then populate on our application. Thank you so much for watching up to this point, and catch you in the next video.